Welcome back to the Uncut show, Wandavision review, episode 3. We're there. It's finally out, and we loved it. Short answer. It was good. Go watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good episode. They ramped everything up this episode. The tension was like dialed to 11. It's much more action packed. More is happening. There's more of the mystery there that is sort of uncovered. You start to see a few new things. Really, really good so far. Finton, mate, what did you think?
I've got a lot of every time I watch an episode, I have more questions at the end of it than it answers from the ones I already have.
Yeah, true. But I kind of like that. I think.
Yeah, I think they will because it's the MCU.
Solved.
Exactly. They are going to solve them. So I'm like, I don't worry that they're just going to leave plot holes there. But
exactly.
Yeah, but it was interesting. I definitely wouldn't say it was as good as the last episode, but it's still like a solid. It's up there.
Really?
My main issue
I preferred this episode.
Oh, really? I think my problem is I
my favorite episode.
The humor wasn't as good. That was my main issue.
I thought so. There's less humor in this episode. For me, that was okay because the bits of humor that were there, I was a bit like, like they still landed. They were still good, but I was a bit like, I'm not as bothered now. Like we've had the 2 funny episodes, and then in this episode, like Wanda's suddenly pregnant, and they stick with that. And she like spoilers, by the way, there's spoilers in this review. She has the babies. They have twins, and it's like, oh, they actually like followed through on this thread. I was not expecting that at all. Did you expect that? I wasn't expecting that at all, mate.
I think they're not going to stick with it though. I do think that they're going to be like, yeah, she's had the babies, but I don't think that they're going to stick around because they're jumping basically 10 years per episode. So this might be the only time we see them as babies. And also just side note,
true, might be like
on the humor, that bit, the funniest part of the episode by a mile for me was that bit where they've had the first baby, and then there's just that really nice moment of Vision and Wanda, and then Wanda just starts screaming and she has the twin.
Yeah. That bit was quite good. See, there is humor, and the humor does land. It's not funny, but it's just
it's just not isn't as much.
Yeah, like they could carry it on and maybe do a good job, but for me, I just feel like they don't want to lean too much into it. At the end of the day, there is still a mystery. There is still other stuff going on, which there's a lot going on in this episode that we'll dive into in a minute. But yeah, so I'm not as fussed about the humor anymore. I still like humor, but I'm really invested into this mystery now. Like this is getting really, really interesting for me. So yeah, so the crux of the episode is that Wanda's pregnant, but she's pregnant at like a insanely accelerated rate. So
it's like a day, isn't it? She goes from being pregnant to having the kid in a day.
Yeah. She goes from like 4 months pregnant to having the babies that day. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool what they do with it. She has twins. I liked that bit of humor where they're arguing about what to call the baby. I did quite like that. I thought that was quite funny.
Tommy or Billy, I think it was.
Yeah, Tommy or Billy. But yeah, in the end, it doesn't end up mattering because they have twins anyway. They didn't know they were pregnant with twins. But
see, I'm curious because they don't say it. Is the other twin called Billy? They never say the name of the other twin. So I'm like,
damn, maybe they renamed it. Who knows? But I did take some notes. So okay. So one of the biggest things that happens during the episode that I picked up on is there's a moment where Vision is like saying to her like, things aren't right here, like I keep noticing things, because basically Vision goes outside and he sees his neighbor like cutting through. His neighbor's like trimming the hedges, but he's cut through the wall, like a stone wall.
He's like a halfway through the wall by the time Vision comes out.
Yeah, which is obviously not normal, and we don't know if they're in some sort of like AI controlled, simulation or something. So me and Finton were kind of thinking that maybe that was, some sort of simulation and it was an NPC glitch. We're yet to see that, but that seems quite likely because, it just makes sense. But
yeah, there's
something at the end of the episode that we'll get into in a bit that kind of maybe tells you that it isn't that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Vision goes outside, he sees this, then he goes back in and he's like, oh, weird stuff is happening here. Weird stuff's been happening since the first day. Da, 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 da. And Wanda like does not like that. Bear in mind she's pregnant as well, so her emotions are probably heightened. And the time rewind just comes out of nowhere. Like me and Finn said when we were just speaking before this episode, we were like, man, I thought my internet glitched. I had to like be careful to not suddenly rewind because
it's literally just that. Yeah.
What did you think of that scene? I really liked it.
I think it is ramping up the weirdness a lot. But pretty much that, like last episode, that you saw the rewind when Wanda. It is definitely Wanda now. I think like as much as in the last episode, I was like, yeah, I don't know. This time around, it 100% is. So we know it is Wanda that's doing it. But last time, at least there was like the rewind. Yeah. Like you could see it going backwards. This time it is just it's mental.
But I wondered if maybe that's a sign of her getting more powerful.
Yeah, I could see that.
Do you not think?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Because obviously in the last episode, we saw the whole rewind sequence. But in this episode, there was none of that. It was just straight snap, back to normal, done. Do you know what I mean? So maybe she's getting more powerful. I feel like she's more aware because also at the end, I'll say this now. There's a bit where so basically the character Geraldine comes in and we start to realize that she's actually not who we think either. She's got like a little necklace on with the sword symbol, which we saw at the end of episode 1. And we know that is basically S.H.I.E.L.D.'s space counterpart. So she's been sent in there potentially to save Wanda. We don't really know. She doesn't really get into it, but she brings up Pietro, who's Wanda's brother, who obviously dies. Well, Wanda brings her up and then she says, oh, he was killed by Ultron.
That was so weird. The way it just snaps. Weird. Like the entire episode, you think that she's a normal person, and then in the same time, there's Herb and I can't remember the other neighbor's name. The woman who you said from the start is probably the villain. Whoever,
yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah, I'm blanking. But when they're talking to Vision, and then at the same time that happens with Wanda, it goes from oh yeah, it's so normal to 2 seconds later, it's just she's the creepiest person in there. Or it's like wow.
Yeah, man. She has that good moment there, but we'll talk about her in just a sec. Just focusing on Geraldine, because I really want to talk about what happens to Geraldine. So Geraldine is, sort of prying. She's like, oh yeah, your brother was killed by Ultron. But then she clocks that she's maybe gone a step too far too soon. Wanda gets quite visibly mad. And then at the end of the episode, Vision comes in and he's like, oh, where's Geraldine gone? And she's been expelled out of this, like, I don't know how to call it. It looks like an AI cloud, basically. It's like a way of describing it.
It's like an invisible wall. I'm trying to think of a movie that it's been in before because I know exactly the movie I'm thinking of, but I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
It looks like something out of the Adam Sandler movie Pixels.
Yes, that was what I was thinking of. Yeah,
which I've never watched, but I know that sort of graphical style.
Oh no, I've watched it.
It looks. Poor you, but yeah, it looks. It looks like that. It looks like that. So, it looks like the theory that she's within the TV show that we were saying last time, or she's in some sort of AI, might actually be completely false. She might actually be in a real physical space. We're not really sure. But Geraldine is like thrown out of it with force. She lands on the ground, and then loads of soldiers come and like swarm her.
But I honestly don't know who that is.
Fire shots or anything.
They don't like.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
I'm like, that could be Sword.
Because the thing is,
but then Sword, like we looked into this beforehand because I knew nothing about them. Sword aren't antagonistic, so why would they send an army full of people with guns? I thought that was weird.
Sword are meant to be S.H.I.E.L.D. basically. They're like a S.H.I.E.L.D.
I was thinking it might be S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I wondered if it was S.H.I.E.L.D. because from what I was reading, Sword don't really deal with terrestrial things. They deal with things out in space. And also, if Geraldine is a Sword agent, they swarmed her with force. Like, they didn't touch her, but they were pointing guns at her and stuff. So,
yeah,
it kind of makes you think, maybe it isn't Sword. Maybe it's S.H.I.E.L.D. looking into it. Maybe it's something else. We don't know. But that was good. That was really cool seeing her get thrown out of this simulation because it kind of hints that it's a physical space that people could maybe come in and out of.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what
definitely
you
weird.
took from that, but that interested me.
Yeah, I don't know. It like I said, it's raising more questions than it answers.
Yeah, true.
Because like
True,
we
but
mentioned beforehand, they're just as like theories, I guess. The it could be that it isn't a physical space and it's just that Wanda's made it. So as much as they can go in behind this like I don't even know what to call it, like the invisible wall, everything within it is what Wanda's made. So there isn't actually anything in there. It's just Wanda's made it into a world that she wants.
yeah, could very well be that. Like we know that Wanda is technically one of the most powerful people in the MCU. Like she is very, very overpowered.
Yeah,
Um,
incredibly.
so she could do things like that. And we see her like during this episode doing things without even meaning to. Like she brings life to some butterflies. She hangs up like a butterfly thing for her baby, and I don't know what she does, but she gets flustered and the butterflies like come to life.
I
And it was
think
like,
she has a
okay,
contraction or something, doesn't she? And then it all just then the butterflies come to life.
the baby kicks.
Yeah,
The baby
that's it. Yeah.
kicks. But then later on in the episode, she starts having contractions and like stuff starts going wrong. She like takes out the whole power grid in the town and stuff like that. So like there is, like we were saying, still some good humor there, but it also serves to show like, yo, Wanda is very overpowered. Like
Yeah,
she is
what
very powerful.
the bit
So
about the
that's
water
cool. I
breaking
like that.
and then it starts raining in the house.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah, that was good.
I do just want to
I did
quickly
find that quite funny. That bit was good.
mention two things. One, the hair of Paul Bettany in this 70s thing is just it's so funny. I
Finton
don't know
loved it.
why. I really don't know why, but him with long hair is just so funny. And secondly, I
Very,
don't
very
know.
foxy.
Yeah, it was so funny. I don't know if you watched it with subtitles, but I do because I'm one of them weirdos. You know when she's talking with Geraldine at the end of the episode, she's talking about Quicksilver before she mentioned that Pietro was killed by Ultron. The thing that she's singing to the babies is a Sokovian song, but I only saw that because it says it in the subtitles. Start singing Sokovian song. But I thought that was quite cool as well. I liked how they were linking it back to
No, I
Ultron.
gathered that. I kind of liked that because they've really moved away, like we were saying in the podcast episode that will be out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were saying in that, like Marvel's kind of moved away from her more Sokovian roots and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to see her come back, and she's still Sokovian at the end of the day. So she's still singing in Sokovian to her new children. I thought that was really, really nice. I thought it was a good touch.
Trying to think what else there is.
Oh man,
the color of this episode. I really like it.
It was nice seeing it in color finally, properly. It was good. Yeah.
It reminded me. I know it's set in the 70s, so I knew, of course, it was going to remind me a bit. But it reminded me of that 70s show. It like fit that aesthetic perfectly.
I've never watched that, you know.
Oh, it's really good. It's worth watching. But yeah, if anyone remembers that, it's very much. If you haven't watched the episode yet, because this will be out literally a couple of hours after the episode, it looks a lot like that 70s show. What else have we got? I believe that's everything. Did we mention the intro already? I can't remember.
We didn't mention the intro, but the intro was cool. They're
the
doing
intro
a
is really good
thing where the intro is different every time, which I like. I think more shows
it is really good. I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is fully going into the 70s thing. Yeah, you got anything else you want to mention? Because I think that might be everything from my end.
We briefly touched upon the lady that I think is the villain. She so she's with the neighbor that was cutting through the wall, and she goes, "Oh, you know, everyone here is," and he's gonna say something. He's going, "Oh, everyone here is, you know, like," and he's gonna drop something to Vision, and then she goes, "No, stop it! Don't say anything." And then she tries to like brush it off, bit of humor, and just ride away. So she leaves, and then Vision's like, "Yo, man, like, what were you gonna say?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it," and he just walks away. So that was another little bit of like hinting at something's not right. And I think she's definitely gearing up to be the big bad of the show. I think she's too much of a prominent character to not be at this point. I'm probably going to be wrong now, but I feel like she's a very prominent character, and the fact that she obviously has this knowledge of stuff is going on. Oh, do you know what I just thought just now?
What?
He was going to say to her, everyone here is dead. Everyone in that place is dead, right? And Wanda is doing something to reanimate them and live this perfect life. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, because
Vision's
I was
still dead.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say I feel bad for Vision because I feel like Vision is just one of them, but Wanda's made him more noticeable to everything. Because like he's dead. Like he's not coming back by the end of this show. He will just be dead.
I literally just thought of that.
This is why we don't talk through our points before we record, because we get stuff like that.
Exactly. We don't talk before these. We talk for like 5 minutes about like little notes that we've taken, and then we just like go with the flow. There's no script or anything.
Yeah. You got anything else then? Or is that? I think that's everything on my list.
I think that's everything, to be honest. Like it was a really good episode. That was my main takeaway, and I just really enjoyed it. Do you want to?
What would you? Yeah, what would you rate
traditional?
it? Yeah, you can rate it first this
You
week.
rate it first.
Oh, okay.
You want me to go first?
I don't mind.
I'll go first. I'm saying this episode was 9 out of 10 for me. This is my favorite episode of the 3 so far.
I don't. I wouldn't say it's a 9 because I think the thing is I just found that last episode so funny. So to me, I'd say it's probably an 8 because it's ramping up the creepy, and I'm like,
I like that.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, I'm liking the fact as well that it's staying consistently good. Like it's not just being like, there's not great. It's not like The Mandalorian, which I mean, as much as I love that show, there are great episodes and then there are ones. But so
every
far,
episode of The Mandalorian is good. It's just some episodes are filler and some are more story focused. Come on.
We'll have this conversation another time.
We'll have this debate on the Star Wars podcast.
That's very true.
Soon.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's about it. I think we'll wrap up now. So thank you all for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Enjoy. If you haven't watched,
we need to do that.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. Share the video if you can, please. That'd be lovely.
I will also.
If you haven't watched the episode, go and watch it.
I will cut in on you. I will put the eye of like the playlist. I think because we're inverted, it will be up there, but it will be up there of like the rest of the episodes. So like the review episode 1 or 2. If this is your first time watching it, there will be. Plus, there is also the podcast. Yeah. There is the podcast. So go and watch that. The podcast is like our main thing. This is just a fun little thing that we like to do. We're literally recording this 20 minutes before we have a university lesson. So yep.
Work rate. Work rate.
Dedication.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Very lovely to see you all here again. And
we'll be back
next
week.
You'll hear from us on episode 4. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.